Just settle in and notice that we're here in a world, we're here in a weather system, whatever that might be where you are. Like all of our life experiences, the weather moves through. Sometimes it's a little more persistent, like snow in the winter, but it does move through. Notice as you're coming into this particular moment, what is in your personal awareness. Look around the space that you're in. What are you noticing? And as you're noticing your physical body, notice if you could be more comfortable, if you're warm enough, those kinds of practical things. If you want to move around, one of the things that I think we're all so aware of right now is just the level of fear and anxiety has gone way up over the last several months. We live in a system that's very difficult to live in, and there's a lot of pressure. And now we have a lot of really dangerous things happening, and the effect of a lot of things that have been going on for a long time. And here we are in this moment. We're working with our nervous systems that are pretty alarmed. So I think it's always helpful to state the reality. We're in a time when there is more danger, more threat, whether it's to ourselves personally and or to other people that we care about, to the environment, other beings. Maybe we've been doing a lot of nervous system regulating and we're feeling pretty stable and calm a lot of the time. Now, here we have the water is rising, so to speak. As the water rises and the level of fear and anxiety in the world gets more intense, then we are affected by that. What I've found is that I have little less stability emotionally in my mind. I'm a little bit more likely to go into some kind of catastrophic thinking. One of the fruits of long practice of somatic mindfulness is that we notice sooner. And I'm sure all of us are familiar with that as well. It is really helpful to be able to assess where we're at. So, as you're taking a breath, notice what that feels like in your body. That we're breathing in this reality that life is the way it is right now, and that we are responding the way we are right now. One of the ways that we might respond is by doing more practice, breathing, more awareness, more dancing, more relaxing, more vigilance around the thoughts in our mind so that we don't get trapped in that whirlpool of negative thinking. Sometimes, too, what will happen when the level of threat is rising is that some of the old stuff will come forward, old core deficiency beliefs, old traumatic memories. It's not that it's an immediate threat, and maybe it's something we've worked with before. In my experience, it's not the same level of intensity. We can see through it more easily. We have more capacity to be with the thoughts, but also the energy of that in our body. We could do a bit of a practice of paying attention to the level of fear and anxiety that we feel generally right now and in this moment, and come back into, as we always do, the more accurate perception of what's happening in this moment without ignoring what's happening in a wider sense, time and space. Let's bring our awareness into our body from head to toes and notice if you could be more comfortable. Sometimes when we're stressed, we kind of forget about temperature. So we might be sitting there really cold and going, oh, I could just reach for a blanket. So have that awareness of your physical situation. Maybe we're sitting on the edge of our chair instead of settling back into the chair. Set yourself up to be a little bit more comfortable. And then as you're paying attention into your physical body, notice the level of tension or softness in your muscles. This space that your body is in, what's the experience there? What are your muscles doing? What are the sensations and energy? Let yourself notice all of that. What does it feel like to breathe? One of the things that happens when we're feeling stress is that sometimes our breathing patterns get a little bit tighter. We might be holding our breath. Maybe we've really been working with that smooth, continuous diaphragmatic breath. And now we're noticing have to have a little bit more mindfulness to do that. Or maybe we're noticing that right now we're really turning to that. We're really giving ourselves lots of time to breathe. You might take a moment to either just watch your breath, notice what's happening, or take some deeper inhales, longer exhales. Let yourself know that. What's that experience like when you breathe a little bit more deeply? And because we have these associations in our body or nervous system of making noise and moving is a little bit more dangerous when we're in threat, then we might not feel quite as comfortable doing that. So we could take it at our own pace. We don't have to do a great big inhale and lots of noise on the exhale, or we might. Let yourself experiment and play a little bit. Sometimes the way we break through and feel safer is by doing something that's a bit counterintuitive, something that will give us that physical evidence that we need. I just moved, I just made some noise with my breath, and I'm fine. There's no increase in danger. To bring your awareness to the whole of your back body, notice if you're bracing yourself through your neck and shoulders, large muscles of your upper back. And if you are, then you might just see if you could move your shoulders up on an inhale, release on an exhale, or move them around a little. You also might look behind you, let your eyes see for sure there's nothing dangerous behind you. Notice the back of your arms and hands. Are your hands okay to be still? Well, not in a sense of I'm holding them in place, but just in a sense that they don't need to move. Or maybe you do want to move your arms. You want to hold your hands or put your hand on your heart or anything else. You could always do something, or you could let your arms be still. But what we're really looking for here is there an alarm, a hypervigilance that's saying, I need to be doing something? If that's the case, could you let that soften or come more into stillness? There's nothing wrong with moving our arms and hands. We're just looking to see if there is an impulse to move, what's going on there. And then as you're coming down through the large muscles of the upper back, notice if you could soften a little bit more. The large muscles of the upper back are what works the arms along with the chest. So if the arms don't need to be ready to protect you, maybe those large muscles of the upper back could also soften. And if there's, in a very literal sense, nobody here stabbing you in the back, then perhaps you could let that release and soften. As we're moving through, we just keep coming back to the breath. What's going on with the breath now? Is there a bit more ease, a bit more room? Did you notice that you were holding your breath or it's really shallow again? And then bring your awareness in behind your heart center. Notice if there's any energy or sensation in your heart center that's calling you. When you pay attention there, what's going on? We don't have to figure anything out or do something about it. If thoughts are coming up, you might want to tune into those for a moment. Our head, our heart, and our gut are very much in tune with each other. And when we're working with fear, there's often a lot of energy in the stomach area, but that's not the only place. There's also thoughts in the mind, sensations in the chest, the heart. Let yourself roam down through the back from the neck and shoulders, back of the arms and hands. Large muscles of the upper back and behind the heart center and into the lower back now, the buttocks. And then notice the whole of your legs, front and back, knees, your heels, your toes, in particular the large muscles of the thighs. And what are your indications when you pay attention to your legs? Are you feeling safe enough to be off duty through the legs? Is there a readiness there? Notice your experience with your legs. One thing we always notice with our body and our breath is that we don't like to be scolded. We don't like to be shamed. So if there's a restlessness there, we could just acknowledge that right now that feels necessary, or it wouldn't be there. We could do something. We could stretch or point and flex our feet or do a little tension and release through the large muscles in the thighs. Could do some shaking. And sometimes we tune into the energy in a certain part of the body and then we ask, what is it that's going on? Why are you so activated? Why is it so hard to really settle back and let your body be still right now? And then we listen. A lot of the response comes non-verbally through sensations and energy. It might come up into the stomach area. From your legs, bring your awareness up to your torso, to the front of your belly, your stomach, your navel center, the lower ribs, around the heart area, to the collarbones, so that you're aware of that whole front of your torso and also the interior space from your neck to your pelvic floor. And as we ask that, or we're indicating a curiosity to know more, what is it that's the evidence that my nervous system is using? What are some of its concerns? Why is it that I'm feeling more activated? And we'll give this a few minutes so that we have time. We're not rushing, we're just noticing. You could have your whole body in awareness for this as well, your face, your head, down through your middle parts, your lower parts, the arms and legs. But if you were to sit with this question, I'd like to know more about why I feel this elevated level of threat. Often we'll move into something global or bigger than our personal life. And often it's something in our personal life. Well, I feel really worried right now about something, health or job or relationships or someone else. And as much as you can, stay in touch with your breath. And if there seems like there's a flood of things coming in, well, there's politics, there's the environment, there's war, there's all of these things. It's true, all of those things are going on. Part of what we're doing is facing what's going on. And at a time other than when we're doing a practice, we might engage with other people, we might learn more about that, we might think about that. Right now, we're just really interested in a high level. What is it that's alarming me right now? And then noticing what is the particular situation and experience and relationship to me. So it might be very personal. There's something going on with my health. It might be something more global, especially for the larger movements that are in common, we all share. See if you could either bring images to mind if something's really pressing, or maybe just to acknowledge I am worried about that. I am concerned. I feel a lot of pain, suffering, and that is part of what my experience is. I also feel some fear. What if this happens? What am I going to do then? Let yourself notice your experience and see if you could regulate as you're doing this through your body and your breath. So if you notice that your body's gotten tight, you might move. You might try some deeper breaths. And is the level of fear that I'm feeling right now accurate for me right here in this moment? Could I afford to take 5 or 10 minutes to relax, to let my breath soothe the fear, to let my mind take a break from trying to figure it out? And as much as we can, it's so helpful to move all of that to the side as we do a practice. So we're inviting it in for sure. We're wanting to know what's going on. We're paying attention to the body, the breath, the energy, fear. And we're also moving that to the side so that we could rest for a moment. All of that that's been coming up, we can make a note of it and work with it later. But let's give ourselves 5 minutes so that we're not worrying for 5 minutes. That's not really something that we can just tell the mind, okay, you're on a break for 5 minutes, don't worry. So, one of the things that's helpful though is to give ourselves a different focus. So, let's do some cyclic sighing. Many of you are so familiar with these. If something else works better for you, then do that instead. So, cyclic sighing is this deep double inhale through the nose and then a long exhale like you're breathing out through a thin straw. And let's do that for a few minutes. Deep inhale. And again, long, slow exhale. Relax your forehead, eyebrows and eyes, mouth and jaw, neck and shoulders. If the most important thing in the world right now was to relax your body and breathe, pay full attention. See if you can keep your attention really focused on the practice. Double inhale, long, slow exhales like you're breathing out through a thin straw, letting your whole body soften head to toes as you breathe out. And as you're doing that, and if thoughts are coming into your mind, see if they would move to the background. We're not needing to have an answer right now. Sometimes, if we have a toddler and they don't want to go to sleep, and they go, why do I have to have a nap? I don't want to. And we just hold them in our arms and we rock them. We breathe with them. It doesn't need an answer. Deep inhales and really letting go. Let your breath soften your whole body from head to toes. Come back to noticing what's happening in the energy and sensation in your body. If you were to tune into the fear that's here, or maybe that's not the right word, it might be more of an anxiety or dread or something else, in a nonverbal way, where do you feel that and how do you feel in your body right now? You could do that while you're keeping the breath awareness. What's your level of activation right now? And is it different than it was a few minutes ago? Is it the same? Sometimes it's more. And then could you bring some kindness and patience to yourself? You might have your hands on your heart, either physically or metaphorically. I'm experiencing activated system right now. I'm not very happy about that, but I understand. Bring myself my own patience, kindness, compassion. I could bring myself back into my own heart. And we might make a plan or set an intention Or as this happens during the day, and we notice our shoulders are a little tighter, or we're clenching our teeth, or we're holding our breath a bit. We're not expansive in the way that we might be when we're more relaxed. We disconnect from our body. It's uncomfortable to feel what's here. That we could come back in as soon as we notice, come back into our heart, have some empathy for ourselves, for the situation that we're in. And also to bring in that awareness that on our own, we're not responsible for the world and we can't do anything really about it on our own. What we can do is work with our own mind, our own nervous system, putting it into perspective of I do care and I am feeling fear and I do have these practices and I do have this experience in regulating my nervous system and in being kind to myself. And that's what I can practice right now. If I find myself numbed out and hitting next episode on Netflix or something, I could just bring that into awareness. It's like, okay, that's apparently what I'm doing right now. But then as we check in, that might not be what we need to continue to do, or it might be. So, one of the things that we could allow ourselves is that we could feel how we feel and we could soothe ourselves how we do, and to try to be as healthy as we can about that. Notice how you feel now. Has anything changed? What was your experience during the practice? And then as we move out into the day, we could take some of this with us. Focus for 5 minutes is helpful. We could give ourselves a break.